Welcome to another episode of Making It. My name is Kennan Cooley, and I'm with
Alvin Chea, West Coast. We're glad to see you all. Man, so much has happened since we talked last.
Yeah, so I hear just before we started, you told me you had a problem, an issue. Tell me, what happened to you?
Life is a trip, sister. That's all I can tell you. So, like last Thursday, I was with some friends and enjoying myself and ate something that I thought just didn't agree with me, and the pain kept on and kept on and kept on and no relief. Finally, I realized, oh, I'm having a problem. And she took me to the hospital, and 29 hours later, long story short, I was being wheeled in for gallbladder surgery. I had a gallstone attack. And
wait, so you were in the hospital for 29 hours first?
Yeah, because this particular hospital happened to be the trauma hospital. So anybody that comes in, accident, anything, everybody goes to the head of the line. So because I'm not COVID, I'm not trauma, I'm elective, like I want to be there.
Yeah, it's regular pain, right?
Right. So they finally, and I can't eat. I can't do anything because I don't know when surgery is going to happen. So 29 hours later, Friday night, I went in for surgery, and they removed my gallbladder, and excellent surgeons. I have no complaints about that. It's just that life is just such a trip. So if I'm moving a little gingerly right now, it's because I've got new innards and I'm missing stuff.
You have new innards.
I'm missing some parts.
And hello, are you echoey?
Yeah.
Hello.
Man.
You know, if he pluck you when you just got boom, boom.
Yeah.
You're a tuner. You're a walking tuner. Boom. Bass. Boom.
Man.
No, I'm so sorry. I knew you had some problems earlier this year, right?
That was the same thing, and the doctor told me that it had gone away and that everything was clear, and it had not gone away. They don't go away. And that's why they were telling me it doesn't make any sense for them to remove stones. They need to take out everything. It'll come back.
Wow.
So it's behind me. It was not a fun experience, but I could have been anywhere on the planet. You know, I could have been on a plane. I could have been on a stage.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Country. So God is good. It worked out. And now it's just healing and being obedient. No more fatty, greasy foods.
That's motivation. I'm telling you that.
No more.
Yeah, that's motivation.
I can't do fatty, greasy foods anymore. So.
Wow. So, well, at least you're all better, and you're such a trooper for hanging in there and doing this interview today with us. And you have a special guest, right?
I do. A good friend. We have so many things in common, and we have so many things in common. This guy is a trailblazer and a pioneer, and he's making it, and very, very proud of him. Just to kind of pick his brain, he goes into rarefied territory in the world that he works in, and you'll see real soon what this guy's all about. Mr. James Marsh. James, welcome to the show. This is Miss Kennan and James, two wonderful, amazing people.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm just glad there's somebody better to look at than you. So
there are lots of people better looking than me. Trust me.
I'm gonna stay out of that one.
I gotta paint the picture, James. I have at least 4 areas of affection for this brother right here. I don't even know if we're gonna have time to get into all of it, but we're just overlapping. James, we're both 52, right?
Correct.
All right, both 52. We both consider the same person a sister, Cheryl Jones. Cheryl introduced me to my wife. Cheryl has been there 20-something years in my life. Good woman, good man. We both are very fond of Warner Nashville Country Music Division. We got our start there, and James is climbing up the ladder there. And by the looks of things, now I might be presumptuous, I think I'm right though. By the looks of the screen, we both have done some positive things as far as weight loss here recently.
Yeah, man, I'm 43 down, man. Had to do something.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Had to get it together.
Awesome. That is great. So welcome. I've been bragging on you and talking about all of the things you've been accomplishing. And just so explain some things for me. I saw national president War Group. Is that Warner Artist Relations?
No, National Director of Promotion, Radio and Streaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For Warner?
Yes. Yeah. For the Nashville countryside. Yes, ma'am.
That is so amazing. So let's get the obvious question out of the way, the most hackneyed question. How in the world did you end up there from your start in Texas?
Well, I, 20 years ago now, I started out as a artist development rep for Universal, and my best friend Mike Easterlin, who was working for Island Def Jam at the time, had been telling me, man, you got the right personality, to do this job. And he was on the pop and rock side and Hot AC at the time. And I kept telling him, man, I'm enjoying TV and radio, because I was on the radio in Dallas as well. Sure. And, Russ Parr and all those guys.
Sure.
And so I was having a good time being single and working on TV, covering the Dallas Cowboys. And finally, I just kind of saw the writing on the wall, man. And I said, you know what? It's time, and he got me in as artist development rep at Universal. And they knew that I was horrible hanging up posters and stocking shelves.
Oh, you're gifting.
Right.
Yeah, those guys are really creative, man, and I could never do that. So I started paying the manager at, Sound Warehouse, and, I know I'm dating myself there for people who don't know, a record store.
Right.
In the day.
Well, we all know what a record store is, unfortunately, so we're good.
For the young end.
Right.
Yeah. And so I did that for about 8 months. And Mike, so in 2000, a guy by the name of Bubba Wayne McManus, Texas, had gotten hired at Island Def Jam, and he said he was too old to cover the entire territory. Wow. And he said, I got a kid that I think you guys might be into. And he's talking to my best friend Mike at the time, and Leor and Julie Greenwald. He said, I think there's a kid I've been watching for years, and I would love for him to be my successor. And he walked back into the branch after flying back from New York, and he said, hey, if you get a call from Island Def Jam about a job, it's legit. So I gave him the look like, what? So I called my buddy, Mike, and I said, dude, what is he talking about? He said, man, I was going to bring you up eventually, because I knew he was going to last maybe 2 years.
Right.
But he took a pay cut, and
wow. To help you
that's
come
where I
along.
started. Yeah. And then
That's
I was 4 years at Island Def Jam, working the pop and rock side, Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and Bryan Adams and Hoobastank. I mean, just, and then of course, that was a time when stuff was starting to cross over as well.
Right.
So Jay-Z, Ja Rule, Shanti, Ludacris, a lot of those artists, LL, of course. And then there were some changes that happened at Island Def Jam. They all went over to Atlantic.
Right.
And Leor and Julie Greenwald are very territorial with their people, right? They started plucking people from Island Def Jam and bringing them over to Atlantic. And I ended up over at Atlantic. And
you got this wealth of information over here.
Yeah.
You know all of these people first name, and it's a very different type of roster.
Yeah.
What was that? Was it the ultimate cram session to get your mind wrapped around country, or were you a quiet fan of it, or you'd been checking it out for a while, or was it just an academic thing for you?
Well, I went to a predominantly white high school in Dallas, and we talk to anybody, right? We just got that personality, and I was mixing records at the time to get in with the white kids and the hip kids, and at that time the new wave was in and all those things. So I was making mixtapes.
Wow.
And so I jump in a dually with the boys on a Friday night, in Texas. And I had a mixtape with George Strait, Mark Wills, mixing the stuff, brought the girls.
Right.
And so I already kind of had my head wrapped around it a little bit.
Yeah.
Then going back further, my dad being a musician in Texas at the time, when things were starting to change, to make more money and to get more gigs, he started taking country songs, which were pretty much bluesy anyway.
Great writing those country tunes.
Yes, and so he changed those songs and made them more in the lane of a Bobby Blue Bland and, and those types of songs. And they were just, your girl left you, your dog left you.
Right.
Those are blues tracks, right? So,
Exactly.
Hey, James, can you do me a favor and talk a little bit about your details of your job, though? Because,
sure.
I mean, for me, first of all, I heard one of your first jobs with Universal, so you started out high.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got that high that fast, but.
So, well, again, my best friend, I call him my boy, but it's like, he recognized that if you put me in the right situation, that I can just take the ball and go with it,
Sure.
And so basically what I do now, let me say, when I was a regional, my job is to go out and negotiate radio airplay. So we would take the new Take 6 songs, basically, to the country programmer, and we would play the song for him, find out if he liked it or didn't like it, and we would say, okay, on September 24th, we need you to be playing this song. And sometimes like, oh my gosh, I love this song. Yes, I'm in. And then there are times where you got to go back and got a little smooching and those types of things.
I said on us.
And so we have to work it out to where, I'm bringing more intel. Did you know this song is selling this much product? Did you know that they're going to be on this television broadcast? Did you know? So I'm basically buffing the song up to make them think, man, I better get on this song. And then once we get it on the air, my job is what drives everybody crazy is when you hear it over and over and over and over again. I'm the guy pushing the song, or our team is pushing the song up the chart. Yeah. So that's what I do every day. It's like, and now that it's all on computer, it's like watching the stock market. I can see when they're playing the records, if they're down 2 spins.
Really?
Yeah, I can.
So you're tuned into like all of the different stations. You can see who plays when and how long they play it, how many times they play it.
Absolutely, every day.
Wow, that's awesome.
Every day. So in the country genre, 157 radio stations. I go on every morning, and so we also have people that back us up with that, and they'll help us see where the trends are happening, and if they're, we don't normally jump on them if it's 1 or 2 spins down for the week, but if it starts to look like, they pulled it out of rotation or they're backing it down, my job is to find out why and fix it.
Right.
So is that something that they pay for? They pay for the spots, or your company pays for the spots, or is it kind of a negotiation?
Well, that's illegal, so we don't pay for any radio airplay. But we don't pay for the spot, but we, there's promotional things that, meet and greets are going on tour. There's things that, again, buffing the song up a little bit. But no, we don't pay for those spots. I know a lot of artists would like to be paid for those spots, those spins, but yeah.
You truly have to be a people person, though, it sounds like. I mean.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're every day, I'm talking to someone new every day, and I have to remember, okay, there's a hurricane going on down in Louisiana, Texas border right now. I'm not going to bother them, right? I have to know that this person has a kid. Hey, man, how's the kid playing basketball?
Exactly.
So, whatever it takes to connect and bring them back down, and then go in for the kill.
So I have a question. What was the hardest sell you ever had to make?
There was a song that people thought I had 8 heads. Remember, what would the fox say?
Did the fox say?
No.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Who sung that?
I forgot the name of the group, but it was one of those European groups. This is when I was working pop. stuff. But it was, you know, it was like the biggest song 7 years ago. What would the fox say? You know, and that was huge. It was. Don't get me wrong, the bonus was great, but because it
earned it though.
You earned it. Because people are like, you want me to do what? You know, I mean, you want me to play that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so, but the kids were all into it. And so that made it to where radio had to figure out how to get it on the air some kind of, you know.
So are you to the point now in your career where when you walk in the room, you don't see the eyes do this anymore? Or do you still get that from time to time?
In the country music industry family, we all know who each other, you know, we all know each other. Yeah, but when I'm out on tour, right. That's a different amphitheater, and I'm walking around, I got the lanyards on, and, right. You know, I'm telling major artists, you know, what we need to do, you know, right. I'm navigating.
Running things.
Yeah, and so people.
But as a black man, you're one of the few, right?
He is the
black
man.
There's a girl named Candace Watkins, but I think she's in marketing, but not on the music side.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, as an executive, yes, ma'am, I am.
Wow.
Just me. And it's interesting because everybody always says, you know, and that's the reason why I'm losing weight. Everybody, I stopped being the security guy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not security. Oh. Yeah. So because people still have a hard time understanding that I like this music. You know what I mean? I like what I do.
Right.
I like the people I work for. And, you know, as I said one time before, you know, when Blake Shelton or, you know, or Dan and Shay or any of these country artists walk in the room, they don't just, hey, James, hey, man, how's your kids?
Right.
You know,
right.
Now, don't, you know, I'm trying to respect their space in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, growing up in the industry when I was a kid, I always wanted to respect the space. I know an hour before the show, but no, where you going? Where you come and have a drink, sit down, you know?
Right.
And that's not, and it's real, you know?
Right.
I had a harder time cutting through at rock than I did at country, you know? Yeah, I mean, a lot of times those, you know, the rebel flag and all those things were a little bit more out there with that stuff, you know, with some of the rock stuff. There were some of the rock programmers, you know, wanted to challenge me about what I know in country.
Yeah. Right.
You know, country and rock, I mean, and rock. Yeah, yeah. What do you know about Led Zeppelin? Oh, Communication album, you know, and you start firing off, right?
Right.
And so they're like, you know, and but again, you know, the Bon Jovi guys, the Def Leppard, I mean, I can still, or if I call a manager and go backstage, you know, I get all access. I get a lot of love. I get a lot of hugs. You know, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's more so out of the circle people that still have a hard time with this stuff.
If 52-year-old James could talk to 22-year-old James and say, listen, brother, here's what you need to know. What advice would you give him? Or what was the best advice you ever got?
Okay.
Well, I would say going back, just be patient, you know? I drove really hard, man. Young, and I burned both ends of the candles. Luckily, I didn't do anything stupid. But I should have enjoyed a lot of it. Now that I'm older with young children, I probably should have saved a lot of that money. You know, because at the time, you know, I was burning. But you know, and I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Or what was the best advice you ever got?
You know, the best advice I ever got was everybody's not going to like you.
Which is a big, you really need that now.
Actually, you know what I feel like? I feel like, you know, the more you are doing something different than everybody else, the less people like you. But that's that's you being in a space that you are making changes. I mean, because you're in a place right now where you're one of the only ones doing what you're doing, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right? It almost means you have to be that trailblazer. The trailblazers really usually aren't like, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And look, I mean, I learned a lot of that again, it was probably 10%, 15, 20% African-American kids at my high school. And so when I was on my freshman year and I was on the bus coming back to the South Side, what also too, it made me a little bit harder on the outside when it comes to that kind of talk.
Yeah.
I could handle my own people doing it to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody wants to say it's sometimes the other side, but a lot of times your own people, man, will crab the hell out of you, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I was getting my butt kicked. I was 4'11" at the time, and I was getting my butt kicked because I was in science club. I was in the musicals. I was in those things, and I was the
nerd. Yeah, the only one.
Nerd, only black guy then too.
Right.
And they were like, why are you doing that? You're trying to be white, and it had nothing to do with that, right?
Right.
I just enjoyed it, right? And I enjoy people, and so it made a lot of this because I was more hurt about sometimes my own people than that doesn't bother me. It's when my own people don't do this, they do this. They're pulling on the leg, so that I learned a lot from there.
I love it.
My
dad.
Do you feel like the industry has changed a lot from the time that you started till now in terms of how everything's handled or I guess opportunities or whatever for actually different people?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think the music industry's changed. Let me say that. I think the music industry's changed because now you got programmers that are not specialized anymore for R&B. You got a guy that's running country that's running the gospel station or vice versa. I mean, because they're all wearing 8 hats now, right? And when you used to have a guy that ran this, and they knew everything about it.
Yeah.
I think also too, the music industry's changed because, as you guys all know, when we listened to radio when we were younger, we knew the personalities so well.
Sure.
That's what made us get into it.
Yeah.
Tom Joyner and Dwayne Dancer for me, being Dallas kid, I wanted to be those guys.
Yeah.
When they told me I'm playing a new Michael Jackson album at 4:00, and I was there with my 2 fingers ready to record on the cassette. And
you had to time it just right when they stopped talking.
That's right.
So
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
But and then also too, I want to say about opportunities. I think platforms like this, platforms like, I don't know if you guys talked about my Billboard interview that talked about the same thing.
Yeah.
Talk about the same thing. I think that's going to open doors, right? I like to use this analogy. We didn't know we could be television anchors, right? Until we saw Ed Bradley with the earring and the salt and pepper and the beard, looking cool and dapper. Then all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, I can do that.
Exactly.
So there's more to music than rapping, mixing. There's production, there's marketing, there's so many angles. And even in country, if you're good right now if you're an African-American kid and you're good at manipulating YouTube and what all the other social platforms, we have divisions for that now.
That's awesome.
So, and those doors are open. And now the doors are open even more because I want to be able to say, Warner Music Group across the board, internationally, by the way, is hiring people now because they're good at what they do, not because of how they look or what they look.
Right. That's look.
Do you find that do you guys find artists through YouTube and social media, or you still do the traditional?
Pretty much country country sort of still does it traditional. You know, you gotta have a little buzz. But the other formats are basically social media. I mean, Justin Bieber changed the game. You know, when he got signed, and you know, because he had whatever gazillion followers as a baby on YouTube, you know, you already come to the table, you know, because everybody can sing, you know, in some kind of form or fashion, or they make the microphones now to do that stuff. But if you're coming to the table with, oh yeah, my socials are, you know, 300,000, and this here, I got this many followers. I just opened up for this act. I'm the new local hot guy or hot person. That whole combination. Yeah.
Done the work. You just like, I just need you to facilitate me. I've already got my audience.
Well, because, you know, it's like again, sports analogy here. You got a guy in college that's hitting a baseball. He's hitting a baseball average of 150, right? But then you got a guy that didn't get a scholarship and he's playing minor baseball and he's hitting it 320.
Sure.
You're going to put $300 behind the 120 or the guy that's hitting 300 over here?
Right.
So this guy's already sort of proven something. Yeah. We just need to put him in the right position. We need to put the machine behind it.
Right.
You know.
Wow, that's great. But tell me, as well, we already gone probably past what we said we were going to go, but tell me what your dreams are. Perfect world, money no object, you can sign, do whatever you want to do with the stroke of a pen. What would your vision be for you?
Well, honestly, I love being a soldier. I love, given the little talent that I do have in this business, because it's always changing, it's always evolving, to continue to have an open mind about it, especially with technology. But look, I want my kids to, if they want to be in opera or whatever, I want them to be comfortable walking through any door, man, like I did, you know, and I'm trying to put them in situations to where they're not afraid of any man. You know, and that's what I want, man. I want, you know, all children to be able to go, you know, I want to do they don't give me a chance.
Right.
I want to change that, not just in music, but, you know, but change a lot of it piece by piece. I may be long gone, but we can start the snowball.
Sure.
You know, and that's the thing I want, man, is, you know, because my children, you know, you ask them who they like, they're gonna hit you with, you know, Maddie and Tay, Chris Jansen, Michael Jackson, you know, Prince, and then, you know, and I love that, because that's the way I grew up, right? You know, that's the way I grew up. I mean, my friends laugh at me because I can hear something in the background and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I love Herbie Hancock. Like, how do you know it's Herbie Hancock? And I'm like, well, his left hand is different from his right hand, you know, and the way he strides and whatever. And I'm like, my dad was a musician. He didn't know how to talk to me as a child. You know, all he knew was music. Right. And so
that was your language.
That was our love language. That was our true love language. Right.
Did your dad sing, or did he play, or what did he do?
Both. In the 60s, you know, he was round robin. You know, you had to play round robin. There was 3 other lead singers in the group and everything. And he started out with a guy named Vic Bo Thomas and the Swinging Arrows. And you can look at James Lynn Marsh on YouTube. There's a lot of his music still being traded overseas. You know, because it's just old traditional R&B and stuff. And, you know, he had an opportunity to sign with Chess and someone else. And he was like, I'm not giving up the farm. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't go down that path, right? And I just saw the struggle, you know, and I saw our disconnect a little bit. But when I was when I got older and we could talk man, you know, it was it was a whole big different ballpark. When I was younger, didn't work, you know, But yeah, but I had every instrument. I mean, I had a trumpet, I had drums, I had a sax. I knew I was going to do something in the music industry.
Right.
And then he got me a mixer, and I started mixing. Like I said, when I was younger, I wasn't great at even mixing, but I knew it was something in music, and I did radio and I did TV. So again, I knew I wanted something. I just didn't know that this would be where I ended up. But I love the fact that Warner, John Esposito, you probably know the name. Everybody calls him Espo. Been around the game for a long time.
Sure.
When he called, and again, he knew I'd already done country, and he said, "Hey, man, we think you can do this. We think you can run one of the teams at Warner." He had to convince me, because I didn't know that I didn't think I could. I knew I could get the records on the radio.
Yeah.
I just didn't think I could run the team and sit in a corporate office, right, and play that game every day.
But you never know until you do it. I mean, it's one of those things, you have to do something you don't know how to do to grow, because otherwise you keep doing the same thing over and over. You never get anywhere.
Right, which goes back to that thing about being young. If I'd have been a little bit more patient, I probably would have jumped a little bit earlier, because I didn't have children. But now when you make that leap and then never moved from Dallas till now, I had to think about it, because I had mouths to feed, right? But when I sat with him and Kristen Williams and Tom Martin, they were like, "Dude, you can do this." And I went home, and my wife, behind every good man, there's a good woman. Absolutely. And he's like, "Babe, let me just run this by you." Every week, and it was true, you get a phone call from somebody you've mentored before. You listen to new music on all genres, which is, I still have friends of mine that run all music by me before they even sign guys.
Wow.
She was like, they come to you. You've been doing it.
You're already doing the job.
Doing it, right, Right. They just need to get paid for it.
It's like light bulb, and so when she said that, I cried.
Wow.
Yeah, because it, again, somebody believing in you, it's strong, and I'm hard. Nobody's more hard on themselves than I am on my own self, and I knew it was time, I knew it was time. So
well, I'm glad you gambled. I mean, on behalf of people that are trying to make it, on behalf of people who are in the industry, people of color, we are so proud of you. We talked to the one, the only, and we just wish you all the best and continued safety and blessings as you go, brother.
Yeah, congratulations on your success.
Thank you, guys. And y'all keep doing this, man. This is, like I said, this is what's going to open doors. This is what's going to keep people looking and going, wait a minute, this guy does this, or this person does that. No matter making it, anybody, I don't care. My dad used to say, I don't care if it's picking up trash, be the best at it,
Absolutely.
And so I appreciate you guys having me on, and always enjoy the conversation. Call me if there's anything I can do.
Sure. And you do the same. Blessings.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate you.